So, welcome to our weekly meditation as we move into the month of June. And I'm just picking up a couple of thoughts from last week on Pentecost, the Spirit. I'm going to make a link somewhere to Julian of Norwich, albeit tangentially. Just a couple of thoughts, particularly from Richard Rohr again. The fact that scriptural images of the Spirit are nearly always dynamic, floating water, descending dove or fire, rushing wind. And he says if there's rarely any movement or energy or excitement or deep love, forgiveness or a surrender, if there isn't any of that, then it's pretty likely we're not living in the Spirit. Father Richard envisions the Holy Spirit as, I like this phrase, the loving immensity of God's presence within us. And so my attempt at colour and tongues of fire are the poppies and the red hot pokers in the front garden here, which the weather has been helping. So as we come into our space and thinking of God's presence with us, let's go through our own routine of settling, of focusing, of calming, as we adjust our position, find the position where we're comfortable but alert. And we ready ourselves as we take our 2 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. The wisdom, as the late Archbishop Tutu recognised, the wisdom of the Eastern world that prayer is tied to how we breathe. And so tonight, as we focus on our breath, let's remember that we all have the spirit of life breathed into us, and life is thus a gift from God. Perhaps breathing in through the nose with gratitude. And breathing out with thanks. And as our breathing deepens and slows, almost a sense of luxuriating in that space that we've created to enjoy the breath. To enjoy the sensation of a deep breath. To enjoy the calm that a focus on the breath brings us. Maybe tonight, focus particularly on the sound that your breath makes. Make as much sound with your breath as you like. No one else can hear. Just thinking of that idea of the wind of the Spirit. So listen into the sound that your breath is making as you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And now as you continue to breathe deeply, focus on where the fact that breath is going deep within. And focus on that heart center, that inner place that is far away from the incessant mind, the worrying about what to do next, or the what if only of the past. Here, now, nothing to do, nothing to fix. Perhaps revisit that idea of an inner room, possibly descending the stairs, or going along a corridor to the heart center, the true self center. Take yourself there, away from the busyness of the mind. And perhaps with the breath, visualize a greater sense of connection, a reordered sense of what's important, what is true, what is to be valued, what is universal. Another phrase from Richard Rohr, that through the Spirit an intimacy with the divine and with one another is born. Thinking back to Pentecost, God had come to them, on them, with them. As with Mary, so the Holy Spirit again overshadows. But this action created something different, something startling. The Spirit creates joining. The followers of Jesus are now being connected in a way that joins them to people in the most intimate space. Voice, memory, sound, body, place. My people, our language. To speak a language is to speak a people. Speaking announces familiarity, connection, and relationship. Paul, in his letter to the Romans, reiterates this, that God's Spirit and our spirit bear common witness that we are indeed all children of God. Spanning the gap between divine and human, God plants a little bit of God right inside us. John wrote, "The Spirit of truth, you know him, for he lives with you and will be in you." Which is what Rohr said at the beginning of this evening, the loving immensity of God's presence within us. And another visual image here, which we'll pause on just for a few moments. This is from someone who is part of the Centre for Action and Contemplation. I liken the Holy Spirit to a wild prairie fire that consumes the old dead grasses and transforms them into fertilizer that nurtures new growth. So it is in our lives. When we are energized by the Spirit, we can spread that fire and energize others to do the same, or we can let the flame die. Thanks to the Centre for the reminder that we can be renewed every morning and hopefully keep that energy alive and contagious. So something first there about the connecting, the relationality, all being one, and then moving to what this means for us as individuals. And here's a link with Julian of Norwich, who lived the life of a recluse, or an anchoress, I should say. She wasn't cut off from people. She saw lots of people, but she was in her little room next to the church. And at the same time, there was another lady called Marjorie Kemp, who was also endowed with the power of the Spirit, but in a very different way. While Julian was in the mystical tradition, Marjorie Kemp was brash and loud and apologetic. She shared publicly with everyone the things God told her, frequently breaking out into fits of crying. Now, this style of devotion won her popularity, but she was often rebuked by male authority figures, even called a liar by a priest in Leicester, and several times accused of being possessed by the devil rather than, as she claimed, the Holy Spirit. She was put on trial for heresy and thankfully was acquitted. So the Holy Spirit, the Spirit, isn't a tame spirit, that's for sure. The Bible describes with beautiful and vivid imagery wind, breath, fire, cloud, water, dove. Perhaps we need to hold more to those dynamic word pictures rather than the rather heavy fixed imagery provided by stone idols or thick theological books. Because this vivid imagery tells us that the Spirit invigorates, animates, purifies, moves and flows, foments joy, and spreads peace. And for us, connecting this to the core of Jesus's life, was this good news: the Spirit of God, the Spirit of aliveness, the wind, breath, fire, cloud, water, dove Spirit who filled Jesus is still on the move. And we have a choice. Do we dig in our heels? Do we resist, live for our own agenda? Or do we let go, let be, and let come, and so be taken up into the Spirit's movement? So we'll go to our longer silence with Taize. Holy Spirit, come to us, kindle in us the fire of your love. But we might want to imagine in silence some of that imagery. Wind, breath, fire, cloud, water, dove. Or Richard Raw's phrase, the loving immensity of God's presence within us. Or imagine walking down to that inner room, that heart centre, separating ourselves from the mind and allowing any thoughts that arise to simply settle. So we gently come out of our silence. Holy Spirit, come to us.
This is love. It is what we who have loved God.
The loving immensity of God's presence
Who loved us.
within us. So maybe gently opening our eyes. Bringing ourselves back into the present, back into this room. Maybe gentle stretching, gently tapping the other arm. And a prayer to finish, invoking spirit and breath and wind. Spirit of restlessness, stir me from my longing for comfort that so often stifles me. Help me to release from the places that keep me stuck and guide me in the direction you would have me go. Spirit of the great winds, help me to hear your voice in the midst of the whirlwind of my life. Grant me the trust to hold on while I am being buffeted by life's storms. Blessings of wind be upon me. May my sails billow wide. May I breathe deeply the gift of inspiration. May I be carried to the place of my resurrection. May I be fully free.